guys, today we're going to be talking about Panic by Lauren Oliver. If you don't know what Panic is about, I'd be surprised because I feel like I've talked about it in like 3 or 4 videos now. Anyways, Panic is about this boring town called Carp. And Carp is basically a town where nothing happens. It's just dead boring. And to spice things up, this game called Panic was created. Panic takes place over the summer, and the seniors that just graduated are the ones to play the game Panic. Not everybody has to play, but if you play and you win, you get like 60 grand. Hello, who would not play Panic? Actually, I would not play Panic because the challenges that they go through are terrifying. The first one is like jumping into a body of water from a cliff, and that's not so bad, except for the fact that it's at night. That's a little bit terrifying. But the rest of the challenges, which I'm not going to talk about because it's spoilery, kind of, are freaking terrifying. Holy crap, I can't even imagine doing that. You're basically risking your life every time you play Panic. The challenges that they are faced with in this book are just like pee your pants worthy, okay? They're pee your pants worthy. If you were about to go into one of these challenges, you would just piss yourself. Let's be honest. Let's be honest here. So yeah, that's what Panic is about. I really enjoyed this book. I was surprised by it, honestly. I was going into this being like, okay, Hunger Games. Sounds like Hunger Games, mix of Divergent, just not in a dystopian world. But it was definitely nothing like either of those books. It deals with the idea of fear and overcoming fears and being able to like act fast when you're faced with a challenge. But I really enjoyed this book. It was very intense and a lot of fun. The characters were a bit dry for me, but the challenges that they went through throughout this book really overshadowed that for me. And I overall just really enjoyed this book. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. So definitely check it out if you are a fan of contemporary or just really intense reads, because this is like a super intense book. So definitely check it out. And now we're going to be going into some spoilery stuff. So if you have not read Panic by Lauren Oliver, I suggest leaving unless you just want to be spoiled. Some people are like that these days. So first I want to talk about the book in general and how it was formatted. I thought it was really interesting that she used dates. Like Saturday, June 25th, Saturday, June 18th, and stuff like that. It was really weird because I felt like it was unnecessary for her to do that, to like have the sections off unless she was doing frequent flashbacks, which didn't really happen. Like we got like a flashback at the beginning, I think, or something, and that was it. That was the only flashback we got. I was like, okay, so why do we have dates? Like, is it just to clarify that this happened on this day? Good, got it, awesome. Why does it matter? I didn't really understand why it mattered. Maybe just to keep us in the idea that this is happening during summer? I don't know, it was kind of weird. I was like, okay, why is it formatted this way? It feels like a waste of paper to me, honestly. So the opening chapter itself wasn't as intense until I found out that it was happening at nighttime. I don't know why, but the idea of jumping off a cliff into a body of water during the nighttime, just scary. How? What? No, I probably would never. I don't know, maybe I would do it, but it would take a lot for me to get myself to jump off that cliff. The idea of jumping into something and not knowing like what really is under you kind of scares me. So that was a little bit scary, and I was like, oh god, it's during nighttime. Okay, that just makes it a little bit more scary. When we were first introduced to Heather, I am going to admit I didn't really like her. I felt like she was really whiny. She was constantly like going back to like, Matt, oh Matt, I miss him so much, Matt. I'm just like, just let go of Matt. Focus on Panic. You just entered yourself into Panic. You need to focus on the game here. And I felt like Matt kind of disappeared throughout the book, like, which is fine, because obviously she stops thinking about him and she's more focused on Bishop. But still, I was like, girl, just let go of the man. Just let go of Matt. He's got another girlfriend. Move on with your life. Go, get out of here, go. I mean, I definitely understand like having that baggage after a relationship and really just constantly thinking about that person, but just got like kind of annoying there for a little bit. And then when she gets into a relationship with Bishop, I was frustrated with that as not really a relationship, more of like a, I really like you and he really likes her, but they're not in a relationship yet kind of thing. But it was really frustrating because Heather was like, oh, you're talking to this girl and you're talking to, like, she just kept bringing up other girls, and I'm like, if you want to get with them, that is the worst thing you could do, is just bring up other people. Like, if you want him to want you, you have to make yourself the main focus. Like, just stop doing that, stop comparing yourself to others. And that's something else that I didn't like about her. She kept comparing herself to Natalie, and I was just like, come on, Heather, get yourself together. You're awesome. You can be awesome if you just stop comparing yourself to others. But that's definitely something that I do as well. I compare myself to people all the time, so I totally get that. She definitely has a little bit of a transformation throughout the book, which I was really glad to see, because reading her point of view sometimes was really frustrating when she was just constantly bringing herself down. I really liked Bishop. Bishop was such a good guy. Like, when we find out he's a judge, at first I was like, holy crap, what the heck are you doing? Why are you doing this to your best friend Heather? But then we find out his real motives behind being a judge, and it's just like, dude, you're so selfless and wonderful. I really want Heather to find out the real reasons, which is also another thing that was frustrating. Heather would not let him speak when he was trying to explain why he wanted to talk that one morning in the book. I can't remember what was exactly happening. I think he had like a girl over at his house or something, and she's like, oh, I'm done, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, let me explain, please. I definitely didn't see that plot twist coming either for some reason, but it makes sense like looking back at the book and being like, okay, he wasn't at this challenge, he was really distant and all this stuff about him. So it really made sense. But, man, I didn't see that plot twist coming at all. I really liked Dodge's character as well. I thought he was just such a great character, and his motives behind going into Panic were, well, kind of mixed feelings as to why he was going into Panic, because first off, he wanted to get money to help his sister, but secondly, he wanted to get revenge. I feel like for most of the book, he was more so focused on getting the money and winning Panic so that he could help his sister, but then we find his real motives, and it's kind of like, no, Dodge, you're so much better than this. Revenge is not the answer. It's not the answer, Dodge. As for Natalie, I didn't like her I did not like Natalie at all, and I think the reason why I didn't like Natalie is just because she went behind both Dodge's back and Heather's back and made deals with both of them so that in the end, even if she lost Panic, that she would get some money. Her selfish motives behind the game just is so frustrating. I understand that Panic is a game that you have to strategize, but these are two people that you care about. Like, she obviously doesn't care about Dodge so much in the beginning, but she forms a relationship with him. And then with Heather, they've known each other their whole life, and she's just going behind her back so easily. Ding ding ding, Natalie wins the Worst Friend Award! I actually wish that something would have happened to Heather in this book because just nothing happened at all. Like with the whole water tower and the plank thing that they had to walk across and her getting out of that freaking challenge, like Heather having to do it and Zev, that Zev kid almost dying because somebody throws a rock at him, like Natalie got out of doing that freaking challenge? Are you kidding me? That is not fair. I hated that so much. I was like, it was raining, it was dark, and they had to walk across a beam to another water tower, freaking so high up into the sky, and it doesn't count at all. What the heck? I felt so bad for Heather because I was like, she basically almost died. She almost slipped off the thing because it was raining, and it just doesn't count. Just doesn't count at all. There was a moment right before the water tower, I believe. I think it was right before the water tower, where Bishop's like talking to Heather, and he's like, I'm betting on you. I'm betting on you, Nil. I'm just like, Hunger Games, Cinna, anybody? Hello? What? Another thing that Natalie got out of was the Jack Donahue's house, where they had to like go in and retrieve an item, and Natalie's just like, I can't move. I can't move. I'm like, what are you doing? You can freaking move. Like, you're just being a freaking scaredy cat. Like, get off your butt. Get into Jack Donahue's house right now. I was getting so frustrated because she's just like, I can't move. You can move. Get going. Get. Heather, being the good friend that she is, brings an item back for Natalie. Like, another challenge that Natalie just gets right out of. And she also technically gets out of the firehouse. Like, Heather and Dodge basically sacrifice themselves by pushing her out the window to go get somebody to help. Like, she gets out of another challenge. Go, Natalie. Just go, Natalie. Another thing that Natalie did, I hated Natalie. Can you not tell that I just didn't like Natalie that much? Like, there are parts of her story that were okay, but for the most part, Natalie just bugged me so bad. But there was a point, I can't remember exactly, but like Heather's talking about wanting to quit and just give up on Panic, and Natalie's like, no, you have to stay in it. She's just manipulating her because she knows that if Heather quits, that there's only one other person to rely on for that money, and it's Dodge. And it's just like, you're such a manipulator, Natalie. You're such a terrible human being. Most of these challenges just basically sounded like getting ready to commit suicide. Like running across the highway blindfolded. Who in their right mind would do that? I would be like, nope, I'm done with Panic, later, see, peace out, later, I'm done. Even though they just had to like run to the middle and then run back, even that, like semis, can you imagine just like a semi, like you're just running across blindfolded and just semi just comes up and just, dead. You're dead! Another thing about Bishop being the judge and finding that out, I really liked seeing how Panic was affecting him, because we see how Panic is affecting all these people who are playing the game, but we never see how it's affecting the judges, and so it was interesting to see how much of an effect it was having on him emotionally, especially because he cares so much about Heather, so it was really interesting just to see how much pressure there was on him. Also, I really, really loved Anne. Anne was the freaking best. I feel like Anne was just a very important character in the book because I feel like Heather has just gone through so much and she just almost doesn't see the good in people anymore because of her mom and just people around her. And so seeing Anne and like having Anne as this really good person was really important to her and really good for Heather to see that because it just gave her hope for the future. Really loved the Russian roulette scene. Obviously it was very intense, but I loved Dodge coming in and just saving the day. Just like, oh, I need to check and make sure there's bullets in here, blah, blah, blah. And he gets the bullet out or whatever and, you know, Heather's safe. It really showed a lot about Dodge's character because even though he was competing against Heather, he still wanted her to do well in Panic. It comes down to the last challenge and we find out Dodge's real intentions. I wasn't really surprised by it because throughout the whole book, you know, Dodge just keeps coming back to this idea of like wanting to get back at what happened to his sister. And so I wasn't really surprised to see that he was going to be like, you know, exploding the car or whatever, and I was shocked though that they stopped him. Like I wasn't thinking that was gonna happen. I almost wanted it to kind of play out, but I freaked out when Natalie hands the keys over to Heather and she's like, here, just take Dodge's car for the challenge. I'm just like, Heather, no! And I thought that scene was gonna be a lot more intense, but it just kind of like happened. It was kind of a blurry scene to me. I feel like it didn't play out as intensely as it should have. Like I feel like there should have been this huge explosion and the tiger should have eaten somebody and then Heather, you know, went and saved the day or something, but it was just kind of like, car explodes, Heather tumbles out and she can barely breathe. She stands up and walks to the tiger and she feels at peace. The end. I was just like, what? It's kind of a buzzkill. Like all these other challenges were super intense and then this one was just kind of like phasey, a little bit blurry, and just not a very good end scene. I did really like the epilogue though. I thought that was really nice to just kind of see them having a nice day and how she says like, you know, even though this is a nice day and things are nice now, I am aware that, you know, tomorrow could be a really bad day or, you know, whatever. It's just like, but right now, today is good. I just really liked seeing her have a really nice day because throughout the book, you know, she's just got this super tough life. So does Dodge. Dodge has a really just rough life, and to see them having a good day was really nice. So yeah, I really enjoyed Panic. I thought it was a lot of fun. You guys should let me know down below what you thought about Panic. Hit on some of the points that I talked about and let me know what you thought of them. And tell me what you thought about Natalie, because I did not like Natalie, as you can tell. I just, Natalie, get yourself together and be a good person. So anyways, thanks for watching guys. I will see you soon with a new video. Later!